Number 10. The Scanner. This story comes from a user when she was in freshman year of college. She had never been with a boy and had never even kissed one, and she decided she was tired of being so sheltered, so she started going on Tinder. She met a boy for dinner and a movie after they had been chatting for a while, and everything seemed pretty normal. He was then supposed to drive her home, and it was late at night when she realized she had no idea where they were. The car was just on a gravelly road surrounded by farmland. The man said that he was just taking the back roads. Not ominous at all. He says that they were not far away and asked if he could turn on his police scanner. Her just thinking, okay, maybe this guy is a little weird. He then pulled over the car to the side of the road and turned off the headlight. Rightfully, she panicked and pretended to receive a phone call for her mom, being sure to say on the call that she was on a date and would be home soon. And he then took her home. To this day, she is glad she got out of the situation, as she fears what might have happened on that road. Number 9. The Dog. This one comes from a user who started talking to a guy on Tinder who happened to live just down the street from her. The guy would apparently constantly talk about his dog and how he wanted her to come over to his place so she could meet the dog. Eventually, she did agree to come over, and he told her to park her car diagonally next to a large boat that he had in the driveway, leaving only a few inches of room on either side. They eventually get in after the man answered the door in his boxers, and she saw that there was almost no furniture inside the home. He then started asking her strange questions like if anyone was expecting to see her that night, what's her blood type, and who does she live with. She then realizes that this whole time she hasn't seen a dog, or any evidence that one even lives there. When she asked about it, he simply smiled and continued on with his questions. She eventually managed to leave after he begged her to stay, and then later asked her to join him on a ride into the mountains. Thinking back, she believes that he made her park her car so tightly so she wouldn't be able to quickly escape. Number 8. The Friend. This story comes from a self-called introvert who decided it was time for herself to open up and step into the dating world. She matched with a guy and they hit it off pretty well, talking pretty often. She enjoyed talking, but realized that every time they spoke, she got a lot of anxiety and had kind of a bad gut feeling about it. But she brushed it off as maybe just her introverted tendencies. Her friends encouraged her, and she continued to speak with him after a brief period of ignoring his messages. She agreed to go out to dinner with him, but when she showed pictures to her friends, they pointed out that he looked pretty similar to a shitty ex of hers, and so she panicked and called off the date, unable to continue with it. She then started receiving tons of calls from him, begging her to speak to him again, and when she finally picked up, the person calling revealed that they weren't even her Tinder match, but instead his friend. He said that the man had said he could have her, and that he knew what school she went to, and he would just hang around campus and wait. She blocked him, and fortunately, she never heard from them again. Number 7. The Train. One of the most important parts of going anywhere is making sure you have a way to get home, and the guy in this story was presumptuous about where he was going to be spending the night. This girl invited her Tinder date to a concert where he proceeded to get incredibly drunk and unruly. She got tired of it and decided that she was gonna ditch and go to a bar with some of her friends. So she asked him when his last train home was, and he responded by saying it was already gone. She was shocked and asked him how he was planning to get home, and he responded with, "I'm coming home with you." Pretty assuming, threatening, and creepy. He followed them to the bar, but he was soon kicked out for being so drunk that he couldn't even stand up. The next morning, she woke up to a string of pathetic phone calls from him, and finding out that he had ended up in the emergency room after being so drunk he fell through a window. Number 6. The Bag. Alright, this one is probably the most intense and unsettling on this list. The girl had finally made it to the 3rd date with her Tinder match, and feeling pretty comfortable, agreed to hang out with him in his home. He poured her a glass of wine, and for the most part things seemed to be going well, until she started feeling the effects of something else having been mixed in her wine. Fortunately, she recognized the feeling and made it to the bathroom, where she notified the police. She passed out, but was woken up by the police, who put a bag over her head to lead her out of the home. A few days days later, she was requested to come down to the police station and give her statement of what she was able to remember about that night. And she remembered the police having put a bag over her head, curious about why they would have done that. They responded that it was so she couldn't see what the man had set up for her throughout the house. Number 5. The Theorist. Now, to lighten the situation, let's look at one post that is a little less terrifying. This one comes from a guy who was staying in a hotel in a different city, deciding to invite a girl over from Tinder to make the night a little more interesting. When she got there, they shared small talk and ended up talking about astrology. Being nice, he encouraged her to continue, and continue she did. Eventually, she started talking about how she fully believes in various different conspiracy theories like the Illuminati, fluorinated water, Washington being arranged into a pentagram, and other various things. He said that unfortunately this made him lose any interest in her, and eventually it got so late that she just decided to leave. Not scary, but more just amusing and bizarre, and honestly thinking back on it, that may have been me. Number 4. The Stalker. This one comes from a girl who started messaging with a guy on Tinder that wasn't her usual type, but still attractive enough. She notes how she made the dumb mistake of mentioning where she worked in their conversation. The same night she mentioned that, she was at work and saw a guy walk past who looked eerily like her Tinder match. A couple days later, she was at work again and was speaking to the man over the phone when she mentioned she would have to talk to him later because her phone battery was almost dead and she didn't have a charger. Just 10 minutes later, the same man she had seen the other day, her Tinder match, walked in with a phone charger for her to use, even though he had said he lived on the very other side of the city. She decided to cut ties there and saw that earlier in the day he had posted a selfie on Instagram with the caption, "I am now a taken man." She said that for weeks afterwards, she would still see him walking outside of her work. Number 3. The Abductee. Now let's look at another story that definitely could have maybe been me if I were a man. This girl met a man on Tinder that she had a great time talking online with, and they seemed to get along really well. So they met up, but she then realized that she just wasn't really fully attracted to him, but they decided to keep talking. As time went on, he proceeded to talk about how he had been abducted by aliens throughout his life and even as far back as into his childhood. He had apparently been taken by the aliens multiple times because they had placed a tracking device in his arm, even showing her a scar that he had where he believed it had been placed. She decided that was finally where she had to call it off, and he admitted he felt stupid for bringing it up on the first date. I don't know, is alien abduction something you would want to get out there quickly, or is that like a third date, fourth date kind of thing? Number 2. The Cats. This one comes from a guy who decided to meet with his Tinder date for the first time at a barbecue she was having with some of her coworkers. They got along pretty well, and by the end of the night, she invited him to come over to her place, and he agreed. On the way to her house, she mentions that she takes in stray cats. He says that he's allergic, but it shouldn't be an issue as long as he doesn't touch them, thinking that she has like maybe 3 or 4. She responds by saying that she has 15. When they opened the door, he saw a dozen set of eyes staring back at him from the darkness. The house was apparently in a complete state of disarray due to the cats, and the girl apparently not putting very much effort into cleaning. He didn't back out immediately, but after watching about half of a movie, he decided he needed to get out of there. When he woke up a few hours later, he discovered his eyes had been swollen almost completely shut because of the cats. Number 1. The Mom. This one is incredibly short and not overly unsettling, but is arguably the best one on this list and one of the biggest red flags ever. This girl agreed to meet her Tinder date for dinner, and when she got there, he was already there, with his mother. He said that she had to be there because he and his mom were a package deal. Would you move forward with that date, or would you just walk out right there?
Starting off this countdown, we have the face suit. So this video was uploaded and created by Reddit user Nude Robot Baby. The whole thing just makes me want to bleach my eyes out. Like, it makes me feel so uncomfortable. So according to this user, they were wearing a custom motion capture suit while dancing. And then, for some reason, he thought it would be a good idea to make himself a face suit to wear. And this was the final outcome. know why he thought this was a good idea or like what the meaning behind this is, but it's surely creepy. When someone asked him why he did this, he replied with, "To appease the face lords." So, there's that. Moving on to number 9, we have the lost episode. And if you guys are liking this video so far, make sure to give it a big thumbs up because it really helps us out and I appreciate it. So, thank you. Now, I'm glad that this isn't a real Teletubbies episode because that is absolutely horrifying. Like, what is up with that giant man baby creature? But that's not all. This weird abstract video gets worse. Literally, this could be made into a horror movie. Like the Teletubbies come out of your screen and try and hunt you down or something. There's absolutely no explanation for this video. It was just posted by some guy in the Reddit forum Cursed. We don't know who made it or why. In our 8th spot, we have the haunted cupboard. So this video was posted into the Cursed subreddit by I Like Cake and Music. Well, me too. I unfortunately don't know where the original video is from, but it's from some TikTok video. Honestly, if I was home alone and saw that thing peering out of my cupboard, I think I would die. Like, that's absolutely horrifying and puts a new meaning on the word serial killer. Get it? Seriously, that is a cursed box of cereal. Also, what brand of cereal is that? Like, I've never seen such an evil face on a cereal box before. It's definitely not Honey Nut Cheerios or Raisin Bran, that's for sure. Moving on to number 7, we have the fish. Who here is a fan of fish? Maybe you like salmon or tuna or sushi. Well, this next woman loves fish, especially raw fish.
Mal gucken, ob ich das genauso kann wie die Robben. Keine Chance.
Okay, I'm sorry, that is too much for me. Not only would that be incredibly stinky, but that can't taste good at all. I'm just glad that she didn't chomp down on it. But still, why did she just put that whole thing in her mouth like that? What's she trying to prove? If she's trying to sell that fish, then she needs to be fired because that is not a good sales pitch at all. That poor fish. I just have so many questions. Coming in at number 6, we have the cursed pig. You know it's time to get off the internet when you come across a video like this. So this man's name is Johnny Ridlin, and he actually became famous on TikTok for posting weird videos just like this one. He now has 2.6 million followers on TikTok. So he literally gets paid to post weird stuff like this. I mean, personally, that's not my cup of tea, but if you like that stuff, then I guess check out his page. I'm just curious to know how this all started. Like, did he just wake up one day and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get dressed up like a pig and shout out on some beans? Like, who thinks like that? I mean, it worked. The video went viral and he's got a big following now. Maybe I gotta start doing stuff like that. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the cursed home. So this video was shared in the cursed subreddit by a user named Teriak01. There's no description. The video is just titled The Cursed Home. So the video starts off with a creepy shot of some old stairs. In the background, we can hear muffled screaming. From there, something unexplainable happens. I literally can't describe it at all, so just take a look. Like, what is that? What did I just watch? I genuinely think that that video is cursed, and I'm getting bad vibes here, folks. Bad vibes. In our 4th spot, we have the hot dog ambassador. This is another video that I definitely need someone to explain. So this video was posted by Reddit user Hot Dog Ambassador. It appears to be someone in a hot dog outfit huddled in a corner while the cha-cha slide plays backwards. I mean, when the song is played normally, it's so fun and upbeat, you know, like right foot, let's stop. Left foot, hands on your knees, you get it. But it's just so unsettling played backwards. The video gets weirder when this person begins to freak out. I just hope that this mystery hot dog person is okay and not being held captive. Again, like most of these videos, I don't know what on earth is going on, but I'm definitely not here for it. I should also note that this goes on for a full 3 minutes. And at number 3, we have the cursed mom. If you ever thought your mom was annoying or strict, imagine having this woman as your mother. So again, there's no explanation for this video. It was just titled Cursed Mom, and it seriously creeps me out. There's just this weird old alien looking lady doing weird things in front of the camera. Sometimes it cuts to black, other times it cuts to static. That woman stays alone is nightmare fuel. You're lying to yourself if that video didn't freak you out. In our second spot, we have the cursed Krabby Patty. Let me start off by apologizing for what I'm about to show you.
Hey Patrick, eat me. Eat me.
Yeah, just let that all sink in. I can never look at SpongeBob the same ever again. But it gets worse. After Patrick eats SpongeBob, we see him traveling through his intestines.
Where am I? I must be in Patrick's intestines. How am I gonna get out of here?
You get the picture as to how he escaped. It's pretty disturbing. But again, that's not all. The video ends with Demon SpongeBob feasting on some bread and wine. This video actually makes my head hurt. And in our number 1 spot, we have the cursed ice cream.
There's good reason for my glistening skin, and how I shine, and how my pores are so clean and clear.
Now what you saw was actually a clip from an actual TV commercial. Yeah, they aired that. It's an advertisement for Little Baby's ice cream.
And nod, and hug, and high-five each other with great enthusiasm. This is a special time. Little Baby's ice cream. Ice cream is a feeling.
Apparently the company's goal was to have a very bizarre and unsettling commercial. And it worked because this ad went viral online. So they got a lot of promotion. Sadly, in November of 2019, Little Baby's permanently closed. All we have left is their super creepy advertisement.
I eat Little Baby's ice cream. It keeps me young. It keeps me light on my feet. I spring from activity to activity. I love my job. I love my life.
I have no clue how that actor did that. There's no way I would do something like that. Number 1, I wouldn't be able to keep a straight face. Number 2, I don't want to be covered in marshmallow fluff. No, thank you. Number 3, it's just weird and disturbing.
Starting off this countdown, we have Reddit 50/50. Whoever made this Reddit is pure evil. Basically, this subreddit is like a challenge or game. Basically, there's an image posted to the subreddit that you can't see. but the picture is given 2 titles, one that's good and one that is gross and will scar you. You then gamble by clicking on the image. You're either going to see something super pleasant like a cute puppy or something super graphic. I took a little look and my title was cute puppy or brain surgery. Lucky me, I got brain surgery and saw a dude's head cut open and saw his full brain. There's other really bad stuff on there. Other titles include adorable best friends, or a fox eating a cat, or even a pack of dogs eating a man, or a dog so cute you could just eat it up. It's a really risky game to play. In our 9th spot, we have Humanoid Encounters. But before I go any further, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up because it really helps us out. This subreddit is dedicated to people sharing their real-life encounters with humanoid creatures. One creepy story was posted by the user restless_artist. Basically, this user met a scary man named Jimmy C, who apparently knew everything about him. This guy had slightly long pointed fingernails and kept licking his teeth. At one point he said, and I quote, "I jumped off the San Francisco Bridge years ago, and we've been watching you." Who is we? Like you and who else? Anyways, the combo got really weird and Jimmy literally said he was going to drown the guy in the ocean. And he also said that he was coming after him. Now, the Redditor does not believe that Jimmy was a real human, but was indeed a demon or humanoid creature in disguise. Some say he might have been some weird lizard demon because of his teeth licking habit. In our 8th spot, we have Crime Scene. I entered this subreddit and I was disturbed by the images that I saw. So this page is dedicated to sharing real-life crime scene photos and information related to them. Yeah, real-life images. It includes a lot of blood and gore. These images should not be this easily accessible to the public. Seriously, this subreddit is no joke. It's super not safe for work. One of the images I saw was of a real decapitated head. Another was of severed body parts. I have no clue how this forum isn't banned yet. Like, I seriously wish I could take back what I saw. I'm not even exaggerating. It doesn't affect me because I've seen so much by now, but it's crazy. In our 7th spot, we have the banned subreddit. So there was once a very, very dark and disturbing subreddit titled Watch People Die. And I don't even have to go into much detail. I'm sure you understand what it was about. But thankfully, it was banned for violating Reddit's content policy. This subreddit was literally encouraging and glorifying violence. Let's just say that the content posted there was like stuff straight out of the dark web. And like I said before, once you see that kind of stuff, it's hard to erase it from your brain. In our 6th spot, we have bad vibes. Seriously, this whole video is giving me bad vibes. But there's a whole subreddit called Bad Vibes, and it's dedicated to things that will give you bad vibes. The description of the subreddit reads as follows. Trippy and bizarre things that give you bad vibes or the chills. We're not about things that are merely creepy or spooky, but instead things that are the equivalent of a bad trip or psychedelic nightmare. The surreal, the grotesque, the psychologically disturbing, existentially terrifying. Yeah, no thank you, that description alone is existentially terrifying. But of course, I did a quick little scroll to see what it was all about. And it's just filled with creepy pictures, like this one of a man with tiny black eyes and a weird gaunt smile. Or an edited video of a man pretending to eat his leg like it's a piece of cake. Pretty weird, pretty creepy stuff. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the Cannibalism. Yeah, this was a real subreddit that was thankfully banned. And I'm sure you can understand why it was. But several years ago, it was up and running, and for a long time too. I don't know who created this subreddit, but that terrifies me. It could literally have been run by a serial killer or something. Like, who watches that stuff for fun? Worse, who engages in that? Ugh, I'm so creeped out. Let's move on. Moving on, number 4, we have Creepy Wikipedia. Now this is half creepy and half fairly interesting, not gonna lie. So this subreddit is dedicated to all the weird and creepy stuff you can find on Wikipedia. Some posts on there include the Wikipedia page on humans. One user pointed out that the Wikipedia page written about humans Does not sound like it was written by a human. Another one is a Wikipedia page dedicated to a list of unusual deaths, like Sisamnes, a corrupt judge that was skinned alive, and then his skin was used to make a cover of a seat, and his son would sit on it in judgment. See, there's just some things I don't need to learn, and that was one of them. And at number 3 we have Let's Not Meet. Let's Not Meet is a subreddit filled with real life stories of creepy encounters, like stories about meeting someone that gave you the heebie-jeebies. This is the opposite of the subreddit Let's Meet, where people share stories of people they have met and wish they could meet again. Anyways, this subreddit is filled with creepy real stories, like one titled The Smiling Man. Basically, Reddit user blue_title used to always go out on late night walks, and nothing odd or bad ever happened. That was until one night he was out walking in a police patrolled area. He got a weird vibe and turned around, and that's when he saw the silhouette of a man dancing. He claims that the man was doing a waltz-style dance, but was headed straight to him. He kept walking along the street but kept looking back every so often to keep an eye on the man. He claims that he was a tall, lanky man with wide, wild eyes. His head was tilted back and his mouth had a big, wide, forced smile. Eventually, the smiling man started sprinting directly at him. The man ran right back home, not looking back. From there, he never went on late night walks again, with fear that he would run into this creepy man again. I think it's safe to say that all of us never want to meet this creepy man either. Moving on to number 2, we have Chip Chan.
Someone posted a webcam of a girl that was just slumped over in a chair. Some people thought that she might be dead, but it was soon discovered that she was just sleeping.
This subreddit is dedicated to Chip Chan, a Korean woman that was first discovered in a 4chan webcam thread in 2008. The footage of her revealed her sleeping in a weird position, so users freaked out thinking that she was dead, and then she became super popular. Later, it was found that she was just sleeping, just at weird times for abnormally long periods of times, like 20 hours straight, and she would sleep in weird positions. In the end, it was revealed that this woman believed that a mind control weapon was implemented into her ankle bone and under her left eyebrow. Apparently, this chip controls her sleeping, among other things. She claims that she is being held captive by a corrupt officer named P, and that she installed these webcams so that she can see what happens to her when she is sleeping. I mean, the story alone is fairly creepy. And so Chip Chan is a subreddit dedicated to her and solving this weird case. They are determined to figure out what's really going on. Does she really need help? Or is this a publicity stunt? Or is this woman suffering from mental illness? And in our number 1 spot, we have Fear Me. With a name like that, you know the subreddit is gonna be dark. In fact, its slogan is, "The place where flesh sings." I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I'm creeped out already. The description of the forum is as so. Cast your mind, your thoughts are no longer yours. Wash away any stubbornness, you belong to them. No doubt yourself. You are not who you think you are. You are nothing. Nobody wants you. You are home now. Obey them. You belong here. Welcome home, brothers and sisters. Again, no clue what that means, but it sounds like a cult. Anyways, it's hard to tell what this subreddit is about, but it's filled with creepy quotes and posts and pictures like this one. That photo was captioned, "They are yet to learn. He will teach them." Who is he? Slender Man? Probably. This was another photo posted on the page. This one was captured, "Look him in the eyes." Yeah, no thank you, that is a demon. Straight up, I think this forum is like a satanic cult or something, so don't join.
Starting off at our number 10 spot, we have 2060. This is a Reddit response that came from a user called Pity Pity Bum. And they were responding to a question posted that asked, quote, "What are your guys' predictions for the future of the world in the 2060s to 2070s? This user decided to share their opinion and say, quote, "It will be pretty much the same but with climatic crisis, water problem, AI problems, unemployment problems, and energy problems. To solve all of these global problems, we will have probably something like strong world government, EU but in world scale. Big corporations' problem will be solved by this time, I hope." Alright, there's definitely a lot going on there, a lot of crisis happening. Some of those latter predictions aren't totally terrible, but it's definitely quite a jump from where we're at now. I guess like anything on this list, only time will tell. In our number 9 spot today we have the grim future. So this is a response or prediction from a user named Bob Quasit. Bob's got a lot of ideas about where we're headed in the next 50 years or so, but to start off with, he claims that, quote, humanity is well on the way to extinction by the 2060s. Alright Bob, hot start, things are looking grim. He goes on to say that, quote, Western countries, in particular the United States, are well along in the process of losing basic infrastructure. Electricity, clean water, and internet access are only intermittently available at best for all but the areas designated by the US military as, quote, smart cities. While many people anticipate our world only getting more technological, it seems like Bob has the opposite in mind. He definitely envisions a more apocalyptic feel for the next 50 years, it seems. In our number 8 spot today we have Colonies. So Bob, from before, had so many predictions in one Reddit post that we had to break it down into 2 points. Near the end of his few paragraph prediction, he wrote about how he believes that pandemics will continue to sweep through our world in the coming years, and this, coupled with, quote, increasingly violent weather on a scale currently unimaginable, deaths in the billions occur. Alright, well, I'm glad Bob seems like a glass half full kind of guy. He goes on to say, quote, some of the elite may or may not have attempted to escape to orbital habitats or colonies on the moon or Mars. These attempts are not successful. Even if colonies are successfully established, they lack sufficient biodiversity and technological skill to survive more than a few decades at most. The same issue applies to underground bunkers. The elite believe that they are technologically capable of self-preservation and do not require a living planet to survive, but they are incorrect. They end up devouring each other in the dark underground. The human race becomes extinct within 100 to 200 years from this point. Listen, can someone check up on Bob to see how he's doing? Because I'm feeling a little worried after that prediction. There are some definitely interesting points in here that you may or may not agree with, but anything is possible when it comes to the future. In our number 7 spot today we have 3 outcomes. For Reddit user Sonic the Sith, they see 3 potential futures that they think will occur by 2060. They wrote, 1. We have nuked the planet and no human life exists anymore. 2. Some religious cult took power in the US and the world is close to being destroyed by them. 3. We are on the way to fulfill the prophecy depicted in the movie Idiocracy, with some smart people escaping to the moon and Mars. It definitely seems to be a theme that people think we are going to be moving off planet, or at least attempting to within some of our lifetimes, but it's quite interesting that many of these predictions don't involve everyone. Of course, space exploration is something that is getting more attention now than ever, with more private companies helping to expand our knowledge of the universe. James Webb is out there showing us the furthest views we've ever had, so maybe these predictions are more accurate than we even know. In our number 6 spot today we have Insane Times. This Reddit post comes from someone who has since deleted their account, but they originally posted it to the Futurology thread and they wanted to start a discussion. Their headline reads, quote, the next 40 to 50 years will be insanity. They then go on to pose the question, quote, does anybody else feel this way? Think about the major issues we're facing: climate change, unprecedented growth in technology, worsening wealth inequality, global authoritarian resurgence, plastic pollution, etc. They go on to explain their thoughts a bit more, saying, quote, I know we live in the most prosperous and peaceful time in human history, but doesn't it seem that we are trending toward a future that we are wildly unprepared for? A future of unprecedented change and turbulence. I'm not saying it will be the end of the world or that we are all doomed, but it certainly seems that we are entering an era that will be unlike anything humanity has ever experienced. It's definitely quite an interesting question, and by the edits added afterwards, it seems to have been one that they got a lot of responses to. They conclude their last edit by saying, quote, a lot of people seem to think that we will survive the next 50 years just because we've survived every turbulent period of change so far. To this I say 2 things. 1, past performance does not guarantee future returns, and 2, the challenges we face are not necessarily insurmountable, but they will be extremely difficult to overcome and maintain our civilization, but I think we can do it. hey, at least someone on this list has a positive, although not ideal, outlook for the future. In our number 5 spot today, we have AI growth. So rather than one specific prediction, this is just like a common one that I saw on a ton of Reddit threads that I looked at, and it has to do with AI. It appears that many people believe AI is only going to continue getting better, more realistic, and more helpful, but people also believe that this is going to lead to a much higher unemployment rate. People believe that in the near future, AI technology is going to begin taking over even more jobs than what we've seen in the past. As an example, self-driving cars. It is said that this new piece of technology will soon put 5 million Americans out of jobs. That's a lot. I mean, if taxi companies or Uber can somehow find a way to remove the middleman, you know they would in order to rake in more cash for themselves. This issue isn't just with this, however. It is said that by 2030, nearly 70 million people could lose their jobs due to automation. Is it efficient? Yes. Is it potentially very harmful? Also yes. In our number 4 spot today, we have the 10-year prediction. This prediction comes from the Reddit user Cannibalism, and they had some thoughts about the next 10 years because, by their own words, quote, "If history taught us anything, is that predictions of the future more than that are usually not accurate at all." They do start off with some positive predictions that includes renewable energy sources, medical and technological advancements, space tourism, you know, some cool, good things, but then they get into the bad. They predict things like, quote, "Ads are much more intrusive and annoying, everyone is trying to sell you a suit you don't need, nothing can be trusted, people spread fake news and call the truth fake news, the government is either evil and or dumb and brainwash dumb people like they do now, but it's much worse, dumb people still keep electing dumb people, democracy starts sounding like a joke, privacy is a joke, VPNs are lobbied out and now banned in most countries." That's a lot. There's a lot going on there. Well, these are definitely some darker predictions. They aren't completely out there and wild. Some of these are clearly made with a negative impression of what our current world is like, but some might just call that being realistic. In our number 3 spot today, we have negative finances. Carrying on from Cannibalism's predictions, they also had some negative financial predictions for the next 10 years as well. They wrote, quote, "A recession hits, home and education loan taken during the time for the same amount of education and space today will probably take a person to repay till they turn 70 on average. The gap between the rich and poor widen." They then finish on some environmental predictions, saying, quote, "Global warming has still caused a lot of biodiversity to fade away, the summers are hotter and the winters still the same, some island somewhere will sink. I mean, a lot of bad things happening now will probably happen again, but worse, just like it has been happening from the past." I mean, it's safe to say that if we continue on the path we're on right now, some of those financial predictions might be pretty accurate. As far as the environmental ones, there are a ton of talk among experts that suggests many islands are nearing the point of being submerged in water, but it doesn't just stop at islands either. Some coastal cities might be at risk within the next 50 years as well. In our number 2 spot today, we have the future timeline. On a lot of Reddit threads, one thing I saw being posted a lot was one website that people wanted to share. The website was futuretimeline.net, and when I clicked on it, it brought me to a site that doesn't just have predictions for the next 50 or 100 years. No, this website has predictions for the next million. This entire website is quite the trip, and it doesn't just include predictions for humans and humanity, but also for space, our galaxy, and our universe. In the 22nd century, they predict things like space colonization, AI becoming sentient, and quantum physics has incredible breakthroughs, giving us insight into fields we didn't even know existed previously. Predictions for 1 million AD include things like continents colliding, Saturn's rings fading away, the Oort cloud being disturbed, basically just a totally different world and environment, but that makes a lot of sense. It's a pretty interesting website that has so much information on it and some pretty crazy predictions of the future. In our number 1 spot today, we have space travel. This post comes from a user who goes by Ignolin, and the heading reads, quote, "How I predict the future will look 2020 to 2045. Obviously, this prediction was made before 2020, so we are currently living in the midst of the time this person was predicting, which is kinda cool. The part of their prediction I really wanted to talk about is in reference to space exploration though. They wrote, quote, "The solar system is entirely inhabited but mostly by robots. Because minds are now digital, we can travel simply through light-speed data transmission into a computer or robotic body on another world. At this point, we are a hive
hive mind and can have the sensory input from any other connected mind streamed to our own brains. Our species as a whole becomes self-aware. Interstellar travel is possible through one of two methods. If faster than light travel is possible, we may use wormholes or the warping of space-time to travel to distant suns. If not, nanoscale craft can be accelerated to the speed of light with little energy. Once at their distant destination, they begin using the materials available to replicate themselves and form the necessary technological apparatuses for minds to be transferred. I'm sorry, what? That is absolutely insane, but apparently this person is not the only one who thinks that this is where our future is heading, so I have to ask, who else sees this sort of thing coming true?